Hey, guys. Out to these pals are here, the voice coach, coming to you with another spicy episode of the Speak Easy podcast. I think I've been giving y'all guys all the juice these last couple weeks, right? As we've been looking at some of the hot topics going on, and I got a few for you that'll be coming out too that you'll definitely want to make sure you tune into. So make sure that you are locked in by checking us out over on Podchaser or over on Apple Podcasts, bit.ly/Speakeasy Podcast Show, all lowercase. We would appreciate to hear how you feel about these particular episodes and how they resonate with you. But also make sure that you go and talk about it. Let's talk about it over on Twitter at Theyve Speaks, because we want to hear your insight as well. So this one, as you saw, is all about a fall from grace. And before the movie even launched, there was definitely a fall from grace for Tyler Perry, because man, the critics were going in, my guys, my girls, my queens, my kings. Like, they were tearing him apart. But interestingly enough, I got some motivation, because trust and believe, there's always going to be people that tear you apart. But one of the biggest things I saw from this particular movie from Tyler Perry was that, do you see the bigger picture? Point blank, period. Do you see the bigger picture? And so that's what we're going to be talking about in today's episode. Make sure that you share it out and tag me, because we want to make sure that we come and support you, because there is no Speak Easy podcast without the Speak Easy podcast listeners. That part. So let's get into today's topic. Okay, guys. So I watched A Fall from Grace not once, not twice, but 3 times over this weekend. Now, I watched it once with my youngest daughter. I watched it again with my oldest daughter. And then I watched it with a room of family members, my aunt, my mentor, one of my sisters. And it sparked conversation. Real talk. But it was interesting because after the movie, one of the things that I, always asked them was, how did they feel about the movie? And I didn't get any bad reviews. Now, granted, there were some things that we talked about within the movie that we were like, okay, we caught that. We paid attention to that. Okay, that needs to fix. But it was definitely something that spurred some conversations that really needed to be had when it comes to us being a family. Now, why is this so significant? It's significant for anybody that's ever launched anything, simply because if you listen to the critics, you'll never, ever launch. Real talk. Let's be real. Let's be honest. If you listen to the critics, you'll never launch. If you listen to the critics, then you'll always think and second guess yourself. If you listen to the critics, then you'll always think that there's something wrong with what you're doing. But here's the thing. I applaud Tyler Perry for why he did this film. And it steps so far out of the comfort zone of what most people would understand. This is why the critics got it wrong. And I don't care who you are, tea and shade, you got it wrong. And so here's why I felt like the critics really did get it wrong. Because even though there's every movie, I can tell you, there is no movie that comes out that is absolutely perfect. Come through. Somebody, come on. I give myself a hand clap. There is no movie that is absolutely perfect. And so while the critics are talking about the predictability, these same critics are the same ones going to see Marvel movies, and they read the whole freaking Marvel comics as kids. Talk about predictability. Bruh. They're the same ones who's talking about glitches and all of this stuff that's, oh my goodness, this is out of place and that's out of place and this should have been done. But they're the same ones who go and watch all of these movies where things are always going wrong. That comes with being in the production scene. Everything, everything doesn't go 100% right. You can't always catch every single thing. Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. It is what it is. But this is why the critics got it wrong. And this is my inspiration for each one of you entrepreneurs, speakers, and authors that follows the Speak Easy podcast. Guys, people get it wrong. They don't have the vision you have. They don't have the respect for the vision you have. They don't have the creativity for the vision you have. Can we be honest? Most of the critics, all they are is typewriter bullies, like keyboard bullies, like internet bullies, because they'd rather go and talk about all of these amazing things that they say is horrific, right? Oh my goodness, it's horrible. I won't even go. Well, y'all have seen this one across social media, but they were talking about the man who was in the background who wasn't really eating his food and drinking. He was drinking air. Granted, things happen when you're in production, so you can't catch everything all the time. But guys, how many times have we gone and looked at movies with a bigger budget that have been in production for a longer time, that still has glitches, that still has things that are complete, like you're pointing stuff out all the time? Can you relate? This is why I had to come and bring this to you guys, because as authors, and especially as authors, one of the biggest things that always comes into play is when you go to publish your book and somebody comes to you and says, this book is horrible. It wasn't edited properly. This book is horrible. It wasn't formatted the right way. Oh, it's horrible. And they just kind of come and like crap all on what you put time and energy into. But here's the thing. They've never wrote a book. Right? They've never wrote a book. They've probably had an idea of writing a book, but they're too scared to do it. And so, but they'll come and crap on your book because it makes them feel good about them not doing their own. That part. But here's the thing. I've read books that people have made thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars with issues and errors in it. See, the difference and why I say the critics got it wrong again is because Tyler Perry's confidence shows through. Yeah, he did the movie in 5 days. Who else could do it in 5 days? Like, there's very few directors that could have done anything even remotely close to what he did in 5 days. So the critics got it wrong. Then this part, and I was reading this on a blog site, ajc.com. Tyler Perry specifically went and did this movie on Netflix. Now, we all know Tyler Perry right now, peep game, Tyler Perry has a connection with BET Plus. I think it's BET Plus, right? BET Plus and BET. And of course, he has a connection with OWN. And he has his own studios. He's been doing movies for forever. But he specifically put this particular show on Netflix for a reason. And here's the thing. He said, there's a myth with black people as leads that they don't travel abroad. They don't go and they don't, go to do different things abroad. And honestly, we saw this when we went back and listened to Monique when she was talking about, traveling to go and promote. She said she wouldn't do it. But that's something that really holds us back because there are fans out there all around the world that really, really resonate with the movies. They really want to be a part of it. They really want to connect. And so I've seen Will Smith. He's on his hustle when he goes and does a movie. He's all over the world. I saw Kevin Hart, he's really on his grind and his hustle. He goes all over the world. Uh, who else? The Rock, he's on his grind and hustle. So you see people that are on their grind and hustle. You saw Ice Cube, he's on his grind and hustle when they do their movies, and they're all over the world. But that's not the case for every movie. And so you do have fans who feel left out, and they don't get this opportunity to see it the same time everybody else does. So that was one of the reasons why he did it, is because he has fans. He was getting questions, and he was getting feedback from fans in Africa and South America where his movies never get released at times. So while you're talking about, the predictability and all of this and all of that, there's somebody out there that's never seen a Tyler Perry movie. And when they watched this, they felt something and it stirred a conversation, or they watched this and they absolutely loved it and were amazed. And while you were out there going and pulling it apart, this was the best thing ever for somebody else. That's what happens when you just go by people's opinion. So it was crazy because so many people were downplaying it. But then if you look at the Google reviews, 91% of people loved the movie. 91% of the people that went and did Google reviews loved it. So what does that say about the critics? And as an entrepreneur, as a speaker and an author, what does that say to you about the critics? Are you going to keep letting them make you be make it be the reason that you keep pushing back your date? Are you going to allow them to keep being the reason why you keep stopping and starting? Are you going to allow them to be the reason why you don't move forward in your business and your brand? Are you going to allow them to be the plastic chair that holds you in place? The paper wall that's before you, that's stopping you from reaching success. Will you let them be that wall? They're glad to be it, trust me. They looking for the next person that they can go and tear apart and break down, and on something that they've never done, and so they don't even know how it works. Something that if they were put into the same position, they would do a much worse job. I think we've gotten into this space of giving critics power. Problem comes in is that they're not that powerful. I was trying to look up and see how many people actually watched A Fall from Grace this weekend, because it was absolute. I know, like I said, I watched it with different family members multiple times throughout the weekend. So I wonder just how many people watched this movie. So, man, it's interesting too, because you'll have some that won't like one thing, and so now they don't like everything. And that happens. It does. It happens. You can't allow yourself to get stressed out about it. You can't allow yourself to, think like, oh, well, everybody's going to be talking about me. And okay, let them talk. Let them talk. But you have something greater on the inside of you. And whether they talk about you or not, when you release that thing, it's going to change everything. It's going to change everything. So, for those of you who need a quick recap, the critics got it wrong. And I'm going to say they got it wrong in a couple different areas. They got it wrong, for bashing them for doing it in 5 days. They got it wrong because, they may not have liked it, and that's fine. But, they were talking about how, it's the same, and it's this, and it's that. That's cool. Okay, that's how you feel. But the reality is that for somebody else, this movie was a reminder. For somebody else, this movie started a conversation within their family. This movie changed somebody's legacy and somebody's destiny simply because it was put out there. Had he listened to the critics and not put it out there, it wouldn't have been out there. I even heard someone say, and this was crazy, y'all. I heard somebody say, well, I don't know who hurt Tyler Perry and, made him think that all women are abused and this and that. And I had to sit and go, do you know the statistics? I guess you don't. Let me just show you the statistics when it comes to domestic violence. 1 in 4 women has gone through abuse or will go through abuse. That means if you have yourself and 3 sisters, one of you at least, that's the statistic, is that one of you will go through abuse. Nobody had to hurt him for him to open his eyes and see what's going on in the world. You, queen, you, king, may be woke, #woke. But there are still many people that are going through some very difficult things in the world. And although you're not going through it, please stop trying to belittle other people who are. Think about it. There's billions of people in the world. Yes, there are still people that are going through the same, to the point where the first question my oldest daughter asked me, and my youngest daughter asked me the same thing, is this based on a true story? It tells you something. It tells you something. This is a reality check, guys. Because some of y'all, this is happening within your own family. And you so busy criticizing instead of you asking questions that it's happening right in your own family, in your own home, right underneath your nose. But because it's not happening to you. Because it's not happening to you, it's irrelevant. It doesn't happen. You have your blinders on. No, dear. No. That's one of the reasons why, and another motivational piece when it comes to you entrepreneurs, speakers, and authors, is they run and they will say, oh, it's a saturated market. But guess what? Saturated or not, there's going to be somebody that your book, that your speech, that your products and your services resonate with. It doesn't matter how many other books are out there. It doesn't matter how many other speakers are out there. There's going to be somebody that needs your unique voice. Point blank, period. Period. There is going to be someone that needs your story. And if you let the critics tell you what needs to be done and what should be done, you'll never get the book done. If you let the critics come and talk you down and say that, listen, you're not needed, you're not valuable, you're not necessary, you'll never get it done. The opportunities are out here, guys. So many opportunities. Books are being turned into movies and shows and plays. Did you ever think somebody would go and create a rap musical on Broadway called Hamilton? Or maybe you forgot that the critics were the ones that said that hip hop wouldn't make it past a couple years. Hip hop not that strong, right? Oh, but it's strong enough to make it to Broadway. Listen, you got to stop listening to the critics, y'all. They have their place. I get it. They have their space. They have yeah, I get it. But baby, if you listening to the critics, then you will always find yourself at the starting line and never at the finish line. So with that being said, I just had to come and give you that wisdom, them nuggets. Chicken nuggets. No, I just had to come and give you guys some insight and some motivation because, guys, and now is our time. We have opportunities out here. We have the availability to do so much. The only thing stopping you and holding you back is you. And so with that being said, I appreciate you guys. I applaud you for what you have been able to accomplish so far and what you will continue to accomplish in the future. With that being said, thank you again for joining me on the Speakeasy podcast, where we talk about what it means to be the successfully paid speaker and author. I'm your host, Theyve, your voice manager and founder of the World Voice League. Guys, make sure that you are coming and leaving us a review. We want to know how this episode resonated with you. The critics got it wrong. So show them. You don't even need to respond. Show up and show them. Until next time, guys, don't forget to press it out. See ya.